Oh, Sledgehammer, you are considered to be one of the first SOV horror films ever conceived, along with Boarding House and Blood Cult around the same time. Mom and pop video rental stores were undeniably graced with the original holy trinity of shot-on-video horror. What's even more interesting is that Boarding House actually made it into theaters for a period of time, and was the only movie in this subgenre to ever do so. It would have been crazy for all three of these slabs of mental illness to have made it that far, and would have popularized this style of horror even more back then. The very first time I ever watched Sledgehammer was when my wife and I were still living in central Illinois, and I borrowed it from my friend Steven, whom I became buddies with very quickly because of our love of the weird, novel, and strange. I did not like this film, at all, really. I remember about halfway through the very first time sitting through it, I ended up just looking at random stuff on my phone and not really giving it a solid chance. Probably because I couldn't handle all of the slow motion that was employed by David Pryor to create a sense of fear and uneasiness that otherwise wouldn't be there, and to pad it for the runtime. Like I said, Sledgehammer has a crapload of slow motion. One of the slow motion scenes has Ted Pryor of Playgirl fame extremely slowly putting a can of beer on his girlfriend's head to try and balance it as they walk to the house so they can start partying. Another scene is insanely pointless as you hear them make fun of each other while they unpack the van that they drove in, and the camera focuses on the pile of luggage getting thrown on the ground. What the hell? Really? Okay, padding.
Hey, let me see your hat there, boy. Yeah.
Okay, now you can have it back.
What are we gonna do with a little twerp in the van? Anybody got a garbage bag?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
They finally get into the house. The guys are being dicks to one another and to their respective girlfriends. I guess relationships have never changed as time has passed. Anyway, Ted Pryor has a really fucked up, and I mean piss drunkard fucked up face, and says, "Gentlemen, I think it's about time we get pretty shit-faced."
Gentlemen, I think it's time we get pretty shit-faced.
He then proceeds to drink some sort of whiskey and shit beer one right after each other. What a boss. Everyone dances like idiots. I can't believe I did this, but I forgot to even mention the whole reason for the ginormous sledgehammer wielding apparition ghost guy. Basically, this kid's mom, the kid himself, and some nutsack are at the farmhouse 10 years prior to Ted and his friends showing up just to screw around. The mother locks her kid in one of the closets or bedrooms or whatever it's supposed to be, so her and Mr. Peanut can have a good old time spanking each other instead of him. The kid then takes it upon himself to smash their skulls in with a sledgehammer, and then the movie starts. Yeah. No real tie-in, folks. Just one huge dump truck-sized plot hole after another. That's how this film rolls. Let's get back on track. Ted's beefcake ass plays an acoustic guitar outside the barn, and then we cut to probably one of the greatest food fight scenes in his cinema history. You have the red-headed guy shove an entire frickin' sandwich in his mouth in about 10 seconds. The whole table is littered with bottles of liquor and people get mayo and mustard dumped on their heads. It's so epic. Easily my favorite and most entertaining part of the movie, and that's actually kind of pathetic.
Say, what's a ham and cheese without a little mustard?
You like mustard?
Yeah, what is this?
You like mustard?
Does
everyone like my new hat?
Oh, shit. That's some skippy.
I feel like... Oh.
All right. That's it. Oh, shit.
You got a lot of nerve.
I can't believe you. You guys started it. You guys started it. You guys were the split. Come on, girls.
Wait a minute. Hey, this isn't my contract.
Get a shovel.
Hey, wait. I don't do windows.
Look at this shit. Look at this mess.
How are we gonna rope into this? Who the hell knows what's going on?
Hey, man, you been getting some care lately, man? Shit, you kidding? All the time.
Is that right? Shit, I ain't been doing so good myself.
Good old Teddy decides he wants to have some real fun, so he turns out all the lights and tells everyone the story about what happened at the beginning of the film. Everyone seems to be into it, but old Stripes is in the other room with some half-assed boombox rig that can play weird noises through some speakers that are in the house. I mean, none of them can tell that all those bizarre noises are coming from random subs that are scattered throughout the property. Get real. Sledgy comes down the stairs and stabs Stripes in the neck and then gives him a sweet face-down decapitation. What a nice guy. Basically, the whole rest of the film beyond this is Sledgy knocking the cast of the movie down with his hammer one by one. Geraldo Rivera and his blondie girlfriend decide to take each other's clothes off while this is all going on, and they get obliterated as well. How quaint. You also get to witness the hammer appear and disappear in a corner of the house a couple of times. And Ted Pryor does some pseudo wrestling moves on old Sledgy. I guess he should have just stuck with porn for women. All in all, Zits and Zombies, if you're a fan of extremely low-budget garbage from the 80s, Sledgehammer does not disappoint. It has Ted Pryor, a disappearing sledgehammer, tons of pointless slow motion for film padding, and one of the greatest food fight scenes of all time, immortalized on VHS and DVD for anyone to rot their brains with. Now go make me a sandwich so I can shove the whole thing in my mouth in under 10 seconds.